Yeah, lifestyle lit. I've been legit. The motive is in. I'm going again, but I'm going to win. I don't know when to end. Got me needing residuals for the time that I spent. Yeah.
Welcome. It's a lifestyle with the official LP. I'm your host, the official LP. Welcome to episode number 3. Thank you, everybody out there. If you have been listening audio on all podcast platforms, or if you have been watching video on YouTube or engaging on Instagram or any of the reels, or just showing love, and if you see me, or you just, your kind words to share messages, I really appreciate it. It really just keeps me going. It just keeps that energy, and just make sure I just keep everything in perspective and stay grounded when putting out this content and delivering these videos and these messages and just topics and conversation. It's just vibing with y'all. Not to be overthinking it, or just to make it in a way where, it's just taking myself too serious. So I've been appreciate everybody's kind words, and I appreciate everybody who's subscribed so far. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, because this is the only way we're gonna grow it. I appreciate everybody who's done so far. I do want to be able to grow this thing one by one. Just make a big community. I am looking for, like I said, I'm looking for engagement. I want to be able to grow this. I want to know where you guys feel where things can grow. If you want to, different things you guys want to talk about, there's things that you want me to talk about. Maybe you want me to talk about some things more, or maybe to be focus on some other ideas that you guys may have. You get the picture. But again, I want to make sure you guys are following, you're liking, you're subscribing, and you're sharing it if you can. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. This thing's been going on. This thing's been in the making for a long time. It feels good to get it off the ground. I will say that in these very first few episodes, it feels really good to get this thing off the ground, and I just appreciate you guys' engagement and rocking with me. So I hope everybody's had a good week. To start, let's start. I hope everybody had a good week. I hope everybody's energy was good. I hope they was able to do what they need to do. I know the weather is changing. I know, school is getting back in the flow. Everybody's getting back their grooves right. They're getting their routines back right and things of that nature. And even if there's the hard times of the season, we're going towards the holiday season in the next couple months. So I know a lot of people going through some ups and some downs. There's some highs and some lows. So I hope everybody is able to still get their mental right regardless, and still be able to, get to where they need to be in life and take those next steps, and make sure that you are good, and make sure your mental health is good, and make sure your energy is always right. I will preach that a lot on this podcast. For me, I do have something I'm looking forward to this weekend. I hope put your plans down in the comments what you plan on doing this weekend. I plan on going to the Big E. The Big E. The Big E is a big fair. It's a big festival. Excuse me. It's at the Eastern States Exposition in West Springfield, Mass. It is the largest event on the East Coast and the 4th largest in North America. So, and this takes place September 13th through the 28th of September, and it's a lot. It's a lot of food. There's a lot of vendors. They come from all up and down the East Coast, and there's hundreds of thousands of people visit this. They set a record actually in 2024 with attendance numbers in 2024 with 1.6 million total visitors, and a new single day record of 178,608 attendees on September 21st, 2024. So you can get the idea that this thing is big. They have stepped up their entertainment to where the music has gotten better. They just had Rick Ross and Busta Rhymes perform last weekend. This weekend, by the time this drops, Big Boy will have performed. TLC was scheduled to perform, but they haven't. It's unclear why they had to cancel. They had to cancel that performance. They were promoting that hard. I know a lot of the TLC deep-rooted fans were looking forward to that, but they still have other entertainment in place. But in my opinion, it has gotten better over the years, and you can see the significant changes that they have made to just bring better quality talent. And I think that the people around here have been appreciating it. But it's always just been a fair that people go to, and it's a good time to bring your family, your kids out there, to really go learn about some different things that they have as far as businesses. You can buy cars out there. They got spots for cars. You can see the horses. There's all types of stuff. But it sounds like it's just like a small fair, but this is like a fair turning into a festival, and this thing is growing, it's expanding. This year they haven't put the numbers out yet, but I'm sure there's going to be a day or a weekend where it just goes crazy, and then everybody's just there. But the Rick Ross show, everybody was there, looked packed out. It just looked like a full blown concert. Busta Rhymes was there. He always gives great energy. I wish I was able to make that one. That's one I'm tight at. I'm tight that I didn't get to go to that. But for the people that did go, I heard it was a good time, and I heard it was good energy. But the Biggie is very important in this area and on the East Coast for the people that do go. It's something that we have that has been around for years, and around that time, it provides a lot of jobs to a lot of the youth. A lot of the youth, or even just from younger to older, it provides a lot of jobs for those people in this area, and they're able to put some extra money in their pockets because they pay decent, from what I'm told. And who also benefits from the Biggie, which is crazy, is the people that live right near the Biggie. If you live in proximity to Biggie and right on Memorial Avenue, right across or even close, people turn their whole backyards or front lawns into actual driveways and parking spaces. Excuse me. They turn them into parking spaces, and it's paid parking, and they actually make a lot of money. There was I know one of my coworkers that I used to work with, one of my previous jobs. He was telling me that he was making at least it was like 1,200 a day. 1,200 a day, and you do the math on that, about good 2.5 weeks. So he's making a good, close to over $3,000 just at minimum. That's minimum, but that's good money. That's good money. People are paying their bills off of that. So that's why I say it's important for the Biggie and all those businesses and different things, and employment opportunities that come when the Biggie comes. And it's always a good time too, because it's something that your kids can grow up with. Because I used to go when I was younger. My parents used to always bring us to me and my brothers, and it was just always a good time. Whether it be the school systems giving out Springfield Day tickets, they would give the free tickets to the students to be able to go and experience it, and you'll be able to take that home. And I know the parents is always happy when you got that ticket. When you got that ticket, because that's just money out their pockets. And now me being a parent, bringing my daughter, it's like, yes, if they can get them tickets out, we would highly appreciate that, because they don't. I mean, with it going up in those numbers, you can expect it to get pricey, or well, pricey, but you can expect it to get pricier as the years roll on, and it's definitely a little bit pricey, but it's worth it. It's all worth and fun. You're getting outside, you get to have a complete experience in one, with concerts, with rides. Like I said, entertainment is all types of stuff at the Biggie. So if you are in the area on the East Coast, whether you be in New York, whether you be in Hartford, Connecticut, whether you be in Vermont, Maine, Rhode Island, doesn't matter. I know people come from New Hampshire. People come from all parts, just to go to this festival, fair, whatever you like to call it. And yeah, it's a good time, and I look forward to doing that. I'm planning on checking that out. I want to say sometimes next week, so I'll give y'all my review back on the things that I did at the Big E, and who knows, maybe I'll take some footage and I'll share that with y'all to give y'all a sneak peek on what it's like there for the people who don't know what the Big E's like and never have been there. So, but moving on, we gonna move on to sports. We gonna move on to sports. Not too much in sports. We gonna do. I got my week. I got my. Well, Let me give a lifestyle tag for that real quick for the Biggie. Shout out to the Biggie. I just wanted to give a shout out to the Biggie before I just moved on so abruptly to sports. All right, but we gonna move on to sports because it's a. All right, we gonna do my NFL recap of the week 2 picks. I went 6-4. Some teams kind of disappointed me, but I still came away with a winning week. Winning record, and I'm satisfied with that. I'm satisfied with that. My Rams won, so overall it was a good week. We gonna move on to my week 3 picks. We gonna run through the week 3 picks real quick. I got the Bengals over the Vikings. I got the Jags over the Texans. Titans over the Colts. Yes, Titans over the Colts in an upset. I think Cam Ward and them is going to get it done, and I think they'll finally be able to get things rolling there. and whatever their season is looking like for them. It's not going to be too many wins, but I think this could be their win. The Colts, not to say that they're a bad team or anything like that. I think that they're just like Daniel Jones has been playing good, so I could be wrong, but I think this is where he may play decent, but the team just gonna they're not gonna go undefeated. This is where they may kind of slip up. They're not used to winning yet. They're not used to winning yet. They haven't won in week one. They were celebrating the week one win, which they should. They should celebrate every single win, but they were celebrating. It was their first time winning. I want to say they said since 2019, 2018. Y'all fact check me in the comments if I'm wrong. I'll double check for myself too. All right, we're moving on to the Raiders over the Commanders with the Jaden Daniels injury. I see the Raiders coming out victorious over the Commanders. I think Commanders take a little step back due to those reasons. I got the Rams over the Eagles. That's going to be an upset in people's eyes. Like I said, I have my Rams going to the Super Bowl, so this actually leads towards that pick because I think the Eagles are a really good team, and I think that this is going to be a statement win for the Rams for the way we've been playing. We 2-0 so far, so we'll see if we can get it done. We're not going to go. I don't plan for us to go undefeated as well, too. It'd be nice for us to go undefeated, but I do think that this is going to be the win that the Rams get. A big statement win for the Rams for people to start looking at them and taking them even more serious as title contenders. I got the Falcons over the Panthers, Steelers over the Patriots. I think the Steelers bounce back out after that upsetting loss against the Seahawks. Patriots still trying to figure it out with their whole situation, where the team's going to run, where the offense is going to run. I got the Packers over the Browns. I got the Bucks over the Jets. Chargers over the Broncos. Seahawks over the Saints. Saints looking like they about to have the number one pick. I got the Bears upsetting the Cowboys. I do like the Cowboys. They look a little bit better. I do have them predicted to finish last in the division. And, I may be wrong with that prediction, but I think that, this could be right for that prediction as well, though, because I do have the Bears finally getting things going with Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, I was, kind of 75% to 80% thinking he might be the real deal coming out of college, coming out of USC, but he hasn't really been looking that way, changing coaches over and offensive coordinators and things haven't been really flourishing like that for him. Do think they get things in the right direction, and that'd be a big win for him. I got the 49ers over the Cardinals. I think Mac Jones playing decent, taking over for Brock Purdy. I think that he'll be able to take care of business against the Cardinals, even though I do like the Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison. I do like that. Marvin Harrison Jr., I do like that connection. The Chiefs over the Giants. I think the Chiefs get it back going and get their first W again in the season. Giants, tough. They're a tough opponent. I think I got the Giants being better than what a lot of people predict. Chiefs just kind of get it done, though, because they need to get this win. This is a must win for the Chiefs. I got the Ravens over the Lions finally. I think Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, they're going to take care of business against Detroit, even though Detroit is a good team. Do like their coaching with Dan Campbell. And those are my lifestyle week 3 picks. Week 3 picks. I wanted to move over to some things in entertainment that caught my eye. It's crazy because it's a lot of things happening over situations regarding Charlie Kirk, and I wanted to move over to Jimmy Kimmel out on the Tonight Show. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel out on the Tonight Show at ABC due to some comments he had made regarding Trump and Charlie Kirk. I guess Trump was asked a question, pretty much how he's dealing with and handling, Charlie Kirk's passing, and he responded, in a way that Jimmy Kimmel kind of made fun of, pretty much saying like, he responded to Charlie Kirk passing pretty much almost like this quote what Jimmy Kimmel said. He was responding to him like a 4-year-old responding to like the death of his goldfish. So, Jimmy Kimmel's been on the air since January 26, 2003. And as of September 17, 2025, it's been pulled off of ABC for those comments. Now, there was a report on it. Yeah, it's crazy. I'll say that I'll say for Jimmy Kimmel to be in just freedom of speech and just people's speech in general, to him to be making jokes, like all presidents have gotten jokes, all types of people have gotten jokes. This situation is taking on more than it really needed to, or in my eyes, because in my world, I found out about him when he, unfortunately that situation happened to him. But going forward, you just see the way it end up. If this is an agenda, this is very divisive because you just are making moves and doing things based out of how this individual carried himself and how he lost his life. And there's people that are kind of like making comments, putting that in perspective, and not necessarily going and just saying he deserved to pass away or he deserved to have that happen to him. But they're pretty much putting in perspective of who he was as a person, and people like Jimmy Kimmel are being taken off the air. And that's a scary place to be in because it's like the way things are being I would say governed, and the way things are being taken care of, it doesn't leave any room for dialogue, it doesn't leave any room for opinion, and it's almost like a dictatorship, like remnants of a dictatorship, with the way people are trying to control narratives. It's very unfortunate that something like that would happen to Jimmy Kimmel, and I know Stephen Colbert had lost his job as well too on the Tonight Show with his late night show, and this was months ago as well too, within the same year, and it was pretty much regarding over presidential comments, and it's a sad day in the entertainment world, and just giving your opinions based off of, it don't even got to be opinions. He said a joke. When you think about it, like, he said a joke. He said a joke, and Trump makes himself look like that. But again, like I said, I don't like to get into the politics, because there's a lot of different understanding and knowledge that I need to be able to do my research on, and a lot of different things. And you know politics change every day. You see what's going on. So even within that, that's why it's hard to get into it, because it just seems like the rules are being rewritten. But I wanted to move on. Let's move off of that. Let's move off of that. I wanted to move on. I found this interesting. Live Nation and Ticketmaster are being sued by the Federal Trade Commission, alleging illegal resale of tickets. Let's get into this. This is interesting because for a while, the way these concert tickets almost started to end up being like Jordans. Like, you had to like raffle to get in it, but that's not the way concert tickets. But you have to like have web pages open for these big artists, and they sell out quick. But then the tickets still be they'll be available again, and they'll say a resale, but they'll put that number up. So these companies are making more money, they're alleging, off of these resale of tickets. Now, if they're doing that, that's interesting, allegedly. So let me read this. This is by CNBC. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission on Thursday sued Ticketmaster and its parent company, Live Nation Entertainment, over what it called illegal ticket resale tactics. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in California. 7 states joined in the lawsuit, including Florida, Illinois, and Virginia. In the filing, the FTC wrote that the companies tactically worked with scalpers, allowing them to unlawfully purchase tickets to increase their profits. Ticketmaster and Live Nation's illegal conduct frustrates artists' desire to maintain affordable ticket prices that fit the needs of ordinary American families, costing ordinary fans millions of dollars every year, the lawsuit reads. The lawsuit alleged Ticketmaster has taken a bait-and-switch approach, which allows the company to alter its advertising of ticket prices to effectively lift total prices according to the FTC. Excuse me. It also alleges that the company allows brokers to exceed ticket limits on purpose with resale and violates the Better Online Ticket Sales Act. The FTC alleged that Ticketmaster is effectively triple dipping by collecting fees from brokers on the primary market, brokers on the secondary market, and consumers on the secondary market. The Consumer Protection Agency said the company made $3.7 billion in resold tickets between 2019 and 2024. The FTC said the alleged practices have affected consumers and artists on both sides of the Ticketmaster sales. I want an injunction that tells this is a quote from the FTC chairman Andrew Ferguson. I want an injunction that tells Ticketmaster you can't do this anymore. You can't screw ordinary American consumers who just want to go to a baseball game or a concert so that brokers can make massive profits and Ticketmaster can share in those profits. Wow. 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 According to the FTC, Ticketmaster controls roughly 80% of major concert venues ticketing, and between 2019 and 2024, consumers spent more than $82 billion purchasing tickets on the platform. Ticketmaster and Live Nation did not immediately respond to CNBC's request for comment. Now, man, it's all a monopoly. I mean, this is just big business doing big business tactics to stay in big business, but it's sad that they would even do that because you're already making the money off of the ticket sales. So to buy those tickets and then to jack the prices up, and to buy those tickets and to jack the prices up, and for the tickets not to even really be sold, it's insane because you think you're getting it from somebody who bought it and they're just they couldn't make it or something like that, but it's really the companies. Because when you go on the Ticketmaster, when I was looking up concerts and stuff, it would say resale right away, like right after a day or so, right after the concert would be posted. So that's a lot of money for them to be making. That's unfortunate that they would use those tactics and use those practices, but for them to be sued, this is interesting. This is gonna something we're gonna keep our eye on, and I hope that they figure it out. And I just I hope it doesn't affect the concerts and music going forward. So we're gonna check that out. We're gonna keep it moving on. Let me get some water. Speaking of music, did anybody see Dame Dash on The Breakfast Club? Dame Dash went on The Breakfast Club, man. And I wanted to talk about Dame Dash going on The Breakfast Club because it's crazy to see where Dame Dash is at right now. Whether people think he's financially good or he's broke or whatever you want to say, it's not even about that. It's just more about, like, I know, like, yes, everybody wants money, but Dame wants status back, yo. Like, that's the thing. That's why you see, and that's why it looks like he's willing to, like, crash out, per se, for lack of a better term. He wants status back. He wants to be in those eyes, and he wants to be in the limelight again, as far as him getting the credit for his work, but him doing it his way, and then him being acknowledged for him doing it his way, and him being a boss, and not saying it needs to be him. It just, for me, it's more of a he just wants to, yeah, he likes control, but he likes to be acknowledged that he has control. He likes to be acknowledged that he has that control. And for Dame to just go through, to come up and be like an icon, because Dame to me was always like a music label icon coming up. I always have respect for Dame Dash, what he did with Rockefeller, and what him and Jay-Z did, and what they did with State Property, and the movies that they put out, from State Property, State Property 1, State Property 2, Paid in Full. A lot of respect to Dame Dash, and I always looked at him like a music titan. You can't tell the story of hip hop and people who had a hand in actually helping developing the story and the things around hip hop. You can't tell it without Dame Dash. So all respect to Dame Dash, but when things went sour with him and Jay-Z, it just seems like something that's always been he's always held on to. He's always said that he hasn't spoken about it, which he hadn't spoken about it for years, but recently, like over the last a couple years, I would say, he started speaking out about it a little bit more. The way the internet is going with the algorithm, and the way it's going with content, and the way people are putting things out, and the way people are monetizing off of these views and off of these stories, and he's being paid to do interviews and being asked questions, and he's answering these questions. He's leaning into the content game a little bit more to get himself going. And recently he was on the Breakfast Club. Excuse me. Recently he was on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne the God, Lauren LaRosa, Jess Hilarious, DJ Envy on Power 105.1, and they had an interview. He was famous for the first one before when he pretty much said that they weren't bosses. He went back and forth with DJ Envy talking about he can't, his son can't take out any stock. He can't come get a job here if he wanted to, and he can't make the moves like that because he wasn't a boss. So that went viral, and and the chatty patty thing, and a lot of Dame has a lot of quotables. What I'm saying, like Dame somebody who he can captivate the room when he gets to going, especially like with his energy and his antics when he talks, and how direct he is. But he went back up there to the Breakfast Club, and he's having this interview with them, and he's pretty much going up there to debunk anything that's being said against him. And he wanted to go up there and pretty much kind of just go back. He wanted to go at Charlemagne, just pretty much calling him out for a lot of the things that they do on the Breakfast Club, and they have interviews, or so he wanted to go up there and kind of stand his ground. He was going back and forth with him, but it was entertaining. It was definitely entertaining. It was funny. I think that him and Charlemagne was definitely funny too. But Dame, it's just interesting for me though. Like most importantly, outside of it being funny, is that he's announcing that he's the chairman of Revolt, and they're trying to pretty much say like, no, that's not true. And then another minute he's saying that he'll punch Charlemagne in the face, and it's not saying he would, but he's saying like with those type of comments, the type of person he is, or the type of man, masculine man would punch him in the face. And it's just like with 1 minute is business, and the next minute is things that are just like not really. They don't really go with the goal of who Dame could actually be, or who he is presenting himself to be. I think that it gets misconstrued, because I think a lot of his frustrations of where he probably went wrong, wherever he feels like maybe in his life, I think those things kind of still trickle in his brain. And he looks at a lot of different people that in his life or his situations feel like did him wrong, or didn't weren't there for him, or he feels like he should get a little bit more leniency. He feels like he should get a little bit more leniency, especially when it comes to the culture and the people saying things about him and speaking on his name. So he goes up there to have that discussion with them, and they're going back and forth. And he brought his OG up there with him, and Dame's walking off sometimes, and it's just, to me, Dame Dash should be up there. He should have always been heralded as a top music executive. It's unfortunate the things that went wrong with Rockefeller and him and Jay-Z, because I always, like I said, I always looked at Dame Dash as like him and Puffy. It's not a name that people be wanting to talk about, but his music exec skills, as far as like the things they achieved, him and Dame Dash, and the way that we get deals done and stuff like that, they always were seen in the culture as like music titans, like actual movers and shakers. So it was always respected Dame Dash, but the things that he's kind of like brought himself to now is beneath him, in my opinion. I think that Dame Dash could actually get himself going if he just keep staying locked in, focus what he's doing. He don't really have to address everybody on the internet. I think there's another side of it too, where he understands that if you stay in the news every day, that's just the way the internet is nowadays. It'll create it'll help create monetary value to those things and those projects that he's putting his energy and good faith in. So I wish the best for Dame. But that's not the way to be going about things. Dame should respect himself even more to just give them that. It's gonna get his million. It's gonna get his views and stuff like that. It's gonna get his clicks. And like I said, I hope it starts um, a money trail for him to be able to achieve some of the things he set out to do. But you know, still, even though you don't rock with it, shout out to Dame Dash, man. I'm gonna give you an applause just because people are talking about you again, and they should be talking about you for the right reasons. But I guess if this was your plan, then it worked. So shout out to Dame Dash, man, because but it's crazy because you look on that end, but then you look to the other end of when you don't have to respond to people and you don't have to, you know, tap into what everybody's talking about or everybody's opinion. You look at his counterpart, who he fell out with years ago, Jay-Z. Now, you look at the business that Jay-Z's doing. And now, speaking of the business he's doing, his casino bid was just denied. Jay-Z's casino bid, Jay-Z was part of a group to put a casino in Times Square, and there was people going against it. There was people that were for it. When I heard about it, I mean, I'm not a native New Yorker. I'm not from New York, but I've been to Times Square, been to New York plenty of times. And I thought to myself, I was like, "Dad, they're gonna put a casino there. Like that's gonna get even busier." But you know, some people who probably already be having gambling problems, and drug problems, whatever, they're gonna be around in that area. Like there's gonna be a lot going on in that area when it comes to. Now it's going to create a lot of jobs. Like again, like I mentioned about the Biggie, it's going to create a lot of jobs. There's always going to be pros and cons to a lot of things. But I don't know. That was my first thing. I would like to do well. It's denied now, but if there's other things that would have benefited, I'd like to look up those things. But as far as just like thinking about it, I just didn't think that it would be something that they would fly with. But let me read this article from the New York Post. It says a state board on Wednesday rejected the Times Square casino bid from rapper Jay-Z's Rock Nation and other companies. The gaming facility proposal for 1515 Broadway, also involving Caesars Entertainment and SL Green Realty, was struck down by the 6-member State Community Advisory Committee in a 4-2 vote. Now, the nay votes came from, well, this is a quote from SL Green CEO Mark Holliday. Go run and hide. Mark Holliday railed after Mark Holliday railed afterward at the 4 members who voted against the bid. You have to live with that history forever. The nay votes came from representatives for Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine, State Senate Liz Kruger, Assemblyman Tony Simon, and Councilman Eric Botcher. Appointees of Governor Kathy Hochul, forgive me, I'm pronouncing that wrong, and Mayor Eric Adams voted A. The rejection marked a victory for the Broadway League of Theater Owners, which spearheaded opposition with Manhattan West Side residents via the No Times Square Casino Coalition. Is there any more on that? This is a quote. This is a quote from Richard Gottfried, Kruger's appointee on the state local sitting board. Most residents of the area we heard from are opposed. The Broadway theater industry is adamantly opposed, and they make a strong case a casino in this area would do major damage to that gym. Which I kind of, they're basing this around like the prominent theaters in the area and a lot of different things, and the construction of that casino, and then the casinos just over the time period would do damage to a lot of those places and businesses. The casino bid, though they said there's another quote, there's a lots of other places in the city where a casino could thrive, said Gottfried, a former Manhattan assemblyman. The casino bid was backed by the Reverend Al Sharpton's National Action Network, entertainers such as rapper Fat Joe, and various construction, trade, and other unions who touted the gaming hub as creating jobs and ownership stake for minorities. So, they were going to try to open up this casino, and, it was going to be another power move for Jay-Z. And And if Jay-Z actually pulled that off, it's like I know Nas has his hand in the one that's being I want to say that's in Queens. Forgive me. I need to check that. Let me double check that. Matter of fact, I'll check that right now. Y'all don't even need to check the comments. But as I check that, Jay-Z being able to do that, would have put, he brought a basketball team to Brooklyn. And for him to be able to bring a casino to Times Square, which is going to be major business and major money. But the thing that I realized with even it being rejected or denied is just the people that so Nas's casino is in Queens, $5 billion Queens casino. That he has an expansion plan to redevelop and establish into a full-fledged Las Vegas style casino. All right, yeah. So Jay Z pulling that move, that would have been that just obviously would have made him richer. But there's not too much he could do. I think he's tapping into a lot of different areas. He has his he has a lot of ties. He's on another level when it comes to wealth and finance and access and reach and the things that he's trying to obtain and building his portfolio whether it come to real estate or whether it become the finance and businesses. He's just he is putting them on a whole nother level, and it's crazy that him and Dame Dash are actually working in close proximity together at one point, and you just see the way one does business versus the way the other does business. And I don't really ever hear any stories about Jay-Z arguing in a meeting or being too aggressive to people when it came to meetings or conversations or anything like that. But you hear a lot about Dame Dash, and I'm pretty sure when Dame Dash was up, you know, there's a lot of people that was waiting for him to go on the way down so they can show him how they really felt. And it's unfortunate that, you look at somebody like Jay-Z doing business the way that he's doing, and Dame Dash not to say necessarily be a part of it, but to just not see those moves being made as well. So, you know, um, shout out to Jay-Z still. Jay-Z still one of the best ever to do it. Shout out to Jay-Z still. We're gonna move on.
Lifestyle.
Now, this is it's hard to stay like this is a real sad subject. I want to move on something that's been kind of rocking. Forget social media. It's kind of been rocking the world in the news. Um, there. So let me break it down into finding out just like everybody else. So there was an artist who had a car in the impound or the one second. The impound. It was in an impound lot on September 8th. It went viral that there was this artist named David that they found this vehicle and they found a body in the trunk in in the trunk of that car, and it was identified to be a girl. Now, for me, I didn't know who this person was. And I seen in some of the chatter on the internet, a lot of most people didn't know who he was. There's people who knew about him. There's people who didn't know. So I seen there was people who were just like me in that instance. But so the first report comes out that this girl's found in the trunk. Now he's on tour. Apparently, he was on tour. I'm not sure exactly where at. Let me get those details. Yes, I'll check that in 1 second. Um, he's on tour right now, so that comes out. So people are, they're trying to find out about him. Now, the another report comes out that him and this girl were dating. Like this was his girlfriend. Then the report, like I want to say I probably have them backwards, but it was the girl was identified as a 14-year-old. A 14-year-old girl was in that trunk, dismembered, and it is very sad. It is very sad. Let me get that girl's name real quick. I just want to get her name. Her name was Celeste Rivas. Rest in peace to yes, rest in peace to that young girl. She was found in the trunk, and now people started putting two and two together. Like they said that she had a tattoo on her she had a tattoo on her finger that had sh on it, like SHHHH, and he had the same one that resembled that as well too. Now he's a 20-year old artist from Queens. Now at the time they're saying that they met when she was 12. She's been missing from her home for a couple years now, and it's insane that this would even it's insane that this is even a story now. This should have been a story. This should have been a story. I'm not sure if there were any like missing reports out on her, if that even just got any local news to wherever in California where they're at. But I wanted to read this report. We'll break down a couple of those questions. I'm not gonna spend too much long on this. This is still developing, and this story is very sad. It's like, especially if you have kids, if you have a daughter, whether your daughter or if you have a son, but if you have a daughter, um, you have girls out there that this is very sad. This is from the ABC 7 Eyewitness News. Uh, I'll read this report for you guys real quick. Man, it is very unfortunate. Very, very, very unfortunate. Okay, so police responded to an impound lot in Hollywood on September 8th for a foul odor coming from a vehicle, Los Angeles police said. Authorities located a body in the front trunk of the Tesla that was in a state of decomposition, LAPD sources said. The victim was about 5'1" with wavy black hair and was wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow metal bracelet, and a metal stud and metal stud earrings, according to the medical examiner. She also had a tattoo on her right index finger that said "shh." SHHH. The vehicle is registered to David Anthony Burke, known professionally as David. According to a senior LAPD source, it is one of several vehicles owned by the singer, with many different people using any of the vehicles at any given time. The source added. ABC News reached out to his representative and lawyer for comment but did not receive a response. David, who first went viral on TikTok, where he has 3.8 million followers, released his debut album in April. The singer, known for his indie, R&B, and alternate pop sound, has been on tour since August. The tour stop in Seattle on Wednesday was canceled, with shows next set for San Francisco on Friday and Los Angeles on Saturday. Man, um, the more information is coming out. As these reports have been coming out, people are digging in more into his timelines. I guess there was somebody who hacked his account, his social media account, and posted pictures of them together, them actually being together. And then there was a Twitter or X, whichever you call it. I want to say it was Twitter at the time. This is before it changed to X. Is that it was a tweet from him, pretty much saying, you got to stick through it. You got to push through it, bro. Like, you got to push through. You want to go home to your mom, but you got to, like, pretty much you got to stay. So this girl has been missing this whole time. And in that instance, one would think that, she wanted to get away she wanted to get away. She's a kid. She's a kid. She wanted to get away. Like, she wanted to leave. Fun was up. It's time to go back. It's time to go back home, which, shouldn't have been home. That's a whole nother discussion. Like I said, we'll go more into this topic because this is developing more. He has not been arrested yet. They did raid his home. There was another report that they did raid his home, the home that he owns, and they confiscated some laptops. And I'm not sure if it's phones, but they definitely confiscated some laptops from his place, and among other things, and searched the crib. But he hasn't been arrested yet. And for a situation like this to take place, he's sick. He's sick. I think this dude is done. His life is done. whatever involvement he had, clearly he's involved. This girl is underage. Even if this was 2 years ago, 2 years ago when he met her, she'd be 12 years old. He'd be 18, or depending on when his birth, he could be turning 21. He could have been 19, or he could have been 19. So it's very unfortunate that you know one, he would be messing with somebody that young. Two, he would be keeping holding that person captive, whether they were having her lead her on to whatever he led her on to believe, to get her to stay around, and taking advantage of her innocence and her being that young and her being a kid, and him being who he is, or whoever he is, however big he is with his music. Um, it's unfortunate that he would even take that stance, and then to have her murdered, or have her harmed and then put her in a trunk, and then have the car be impounded, like, and him just continue on with his life, and her just be away from her family. It's sick. It's sick. And it's one of those things where we gotta start. If When I say we parents, if you parent out there, I have a daughter, and it's just one of those things to look at the way that our kids are on social media, how just a little bit freer, just a little bit move a little bit more freely to do things, and just kind of just being a little bit more strict. And just, I know when I was growing up, we were able to kind of wander and do different things, but nowadays it's just people are sick. A lot of people are missing. There's always somebody going missing. There's always something happening. Things are happening randomly. This girl left her crib. According to reports, she left her crib at 9 p.m. on one of the nights, and then had not returned since that time. And for her to be leaving the house that late, and then to be in this situation with him, and this be the outcome, it's just, you never know what road you're going down. And it's rest in peace to that. Rest in peace to that young girl. I want to know you guys' thoughts on the situation, and where do you think that where do you think that this goes next? And do you think there were other people involved? Do you think that he necessarily did the action? I want to know what you guys think down there in the comments. And I wanted to move on. I wanted not keep the mood too down still. I don't want to keep the mood down for this long, but you know, I wanted to touch on something that happened in Mississippi. There was a death of a black student found hanging on Delta State University's campus in Mississippi earlier this week. It had been ruled a suicide by the county coroner, and is it for the officers to say that there was no foul play. The Mississippi officers that came out, and they pretty much came out and said that there was no foul play, and it just don't smell right. There's not really, it's not much for me to, it don't smell right. Mississippi is notoriously been linked to racism and lynchings, and especially in the southern states. It's unfortunate that this kid lost his life to however it went down. I'm not a buyer that he was able to, not even able to. I'm not a buyer that he just decided to take his life and he decided to hang himself, and especially in the midst of everything that's been going on with the Charlie Kirk situation, and just people just being a little bit picking their sides, but not picking their sides, but just voicing hate. You know, voicing hate. Voicing hate to people who are trying to respond to things that are being said to them and actions that are being done to them, and whether it be your sex, whether it be your race, whether it be your political party and beliefs. It's a lot going on in the world, and it's a lot going on in every sector. There's a lot going on down south specifically, and for this young man, his name was Demar Travion, or they called him Trey. Demar Travion Reed. He was 21. I'll read this report from CNN. Excuse me. The I'll read that part again. The death of a black student found hanging on Delta State University's campus in Mississippi earlier this week has been ruled a suicide, the county coroner said Thursday. The body of Domar Travion Reed, 21, was found Monday morning hanging from a tree near the university's pickleball courts. Campus Police Chief Michael Peeler announced earlier this week. The incident raised questions by loved ones and led the university president to acknowledge that the scene and image could be upsetting to some students, given the history of racial violence in the Jim Crow South. You see, you know, it's of course it's going to raise questions. All investigative material in the active case has been turned over to the FBI and the U.S. Attorney Office for review, according to a Thursday news release from the Cleveland Police Department. I condemn the rumors circulating regarding his death, Mississippi Department of Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tyndall said in the news release. Authorities had previously said that no foul play was suspected in the death. See, now I think there's a lot of things. I think they're just moving too fast to rule out. Um, they're ruling too fast to rule out that there was actually some foul play, because I think that they already know that if even just the instance of them saying that, this, whether it be white person, whoever ended up doing it, let's just say hypothetically, a Caucasian race actually did the deed. I think it would cause chaos. I think it would cause chaos. I think for them they are, it's almost like the lesser of the two evils. It's like they're trying to balance that, and it's just nasty. It's nasty. You can read right through it. You can see right through you can see right through the BS, and they're doing it right in our faces. They're showing us in many different instances. So like I said earlier, with Jimmy Kimmel being taken out the air, and speech and opinion, and people acting out, and people showing frustration, and people spewing hate, and things like this happen, and a black student gets found hanging on a tree, is ruled a suicide. They just moving on to the next thing, and they're showing you right in our faces that you know things are changing for the worse. If you are of our culture and are just of anything that doesn't represent what they don't deem is American in their eyes. And I think people need to pay attention to a lot more of these issues, and not just these issues. Um, Pay attention to the issues that they're trying to push on. Pay attention to the issues that they're trying to push on us, on not even on not on us for us to agree with, but the issues that they're trying to push on us that are so important to them that they want to change and they want to make matter. So we need to push back against a lot of those things. And of course, like people always say, it starts with the voting, and but it starts with people paying attention, and paying attention to the right things, as opposed to just always paying attention to the drama and what's on the algorithm. You know, these things definitely deserve to have some light shed on them, because they get swept under the rug. They get swept under the rug daily. There's a lot of stories that probably go on in different states that just don't get highlighted like that. And I think they definitely deserve some more attention, because people need to be more aware of what's actually been going on and is continuing to going on, and find a way to stop this, because it's very unfortunate that he lost his life in that manner, and it's just kind of just going a whole nother way. Now, I just want to say rest in peace again to DeMar Travion Reed. You didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. And I hope that you actually get some justice in, your unfortunate passing, and your family actually can get some peace. Would I mean, they probably would never get peace with a situation like that, because like who would even mm, my heart goes out to their family, my condolences to their family, but I hope that they're able to get some justice as well too, and they're able to just see this thing through and just not be just pushed to the side and a part of agendas that's been going on based off politics and the way the world and energy and everybody's kind of thought process has been going. Not everybody, but everybody that's about making things great again. So I did want to rest in peace again to that young man. So I wanted to debut, like there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of different variations that I have to this podcast that's going to be rolled out, and I've been, working on implementing them as we go on. You guys are gonna see it. The thing is, all a lot of the things are already ready, but I want you guys to enjoy the different aspects of this podcast. And again, I appreciate you guys for joining me. I appreciate you guys for actually checking out each episode. If you want to go back to check out episode 1, check out episode 2. You can check those out on YouTube. It's a Lifestyle LP on all streaming platforms, everywhere. Again, thank you. Big thank you to everybody. Oh, wait. Before I wanted the Clipse at the Vatican. Forgot Clipse at the Vatican. Let me give applause to before I talk about what I was gonna say. The Clipse at the Vatican, real quick. Clipse becomes the first rappers to perform at the Vatican. Let me give that up. Let me read this real quick. This report is from Rapzilla. Last weekend, legendary rap duo Clipse performed their song "The Birds Don't Sing" in front of a Catholic audience at the Vatican itself. The duo became the first rappers to perform there, joining Pusha T and Malice. With John Legend for the chorus and a live orchestra. Clipse performed in the Vatican's Grace of the World concert, co-directed by another hip-hop legend, Pharrell Williams. The concert featured other secular artists such as Jelly Roll and Jennifer Hudson. The concert is part of the Catholics' 2025 Jubilee. The Birds Don't Sing is the opening track of Clipse's 2025 album, Let God Sort 'Em Out. The album is their first full-length project in 19 years since Hell Hath No Fury. Give it up for the Clipse. I just wanted to give it up for them because that project, to me, is like the rollout, the build up to that project, really bring the essence of hip hop back, rap back. I really rocked with it. It really still is making a stamp. They still moving around with it. I hope they do win a Grammy with that. And it's just putting music in a great place because I think words, meaning, messages, good energy is always good in music. It's great in music, and especially with hip hop, and we can really just take certain things back and certain aspects back that'll really help the people not have, and at least in our culture, not have as much hate and not commit so many different things that a lot of the music influences. So just again, I wanted to give a shout out to Clipse. Appreciate everything that they've been doing. So yeah, I wanted to roll out. There's a segment to this aspect, to this show that I wanted to roll out. It's a performance aspect where artists will be able to come up, after they have interviews, and I'm getting done talking to them and chopping it up with them, and we get to know them. But I want to get to know them on the performance aspect too. So I want everybody that is actually able to come up here, perform and be able to do their things, and quick kind of free, not freestyle, but it's a small performance segment to where we can highlight, what that artist does and actually seeing them in action. So I appreciate everybody checking me out. Lock in with me again next week. We're going to be here, same place, same time. It's a Lifestyle with the official LP. Hope y'all enjoy the show. And, get back with me. Episode 3 in the books. Oh, yeah. Follow. It's a Lifestyle LP. Don't forget. Lifestyle.
I said I always told myself to wait. Shit be getting heavy, make it light, work like it's featherweight. I know I've been at Uno, pull your card and I won't hesitate. Niggas in they feelings when I say some shit that resonate. My position is on head of state. My prime is looking optimist. My vision looking oculus. If you thinking you can fuck with me, I appreciate your confidence. It's uncommon to see some niggas with some common sense. While I'm designing game plans, they worry about designer fits. I need masterpieces and timeless hits. Roll with the finest chicks. I'm in the gym working it out from them shots that I might have missed. Ain't no slight in this, I'm taking the game with the slight of risk. And I don't care about who's bad, nigga, who's nice is this. Playing chess to take it overseas, doors don't open up with keys. Niggas want their spot, but sees the failing, they don't meet the needs. I'm just trying to meet the fees, really trying to reach the league. Hold on, let's go get him.